All right, just have to get this video live on Facebook. Let's do it. Okay. All right, am I live? Let me check it out. Hey everyone, am I live? Just gonna take a look at Facebook, pull it up, see if I can make sure what we've got going on here. Sorry, it just takes a minute to get prepared for these kind of things. Yay, okay, good, there I am. I see it. Awesome, how are y'all doing? Please let me know in the comments. Let me open the video up. How are y'all feeling with what's been going on? What was it, the Sun square Pluto that we had going on last week, Sun conjunct Uranus? Hey, Roxana, I don't know, it's pretty. Hello, crazy. I know, share your stories. Hey, Emily. Awesome. Yeah, I'm just kind of hanging in. I still have my sinuses going on. I did take like an antihistamine this morning and I'm feeling a little bit better, but I did wake up and my eyes were so big and so swollen. They're actually pretty red. If you can see, I've got like these horrible bags. I think I was talking to my mom. She's a nurse. She's like, it's allergies and I'm just waiting for the swelling and my eyes to go down. I texted my mom a picture of Quasimodo. I'm like, this is what I look like today with my eyes like all over the place. But yeah, the medicine's helping. I'm feeling better. I've got my orange juice, even though I know it has tons of sugar in it. But just hanging. I haven't really talked to y'all that much in a while. I haven't really been in the comments as much either. I do like to do that, but just haven't been lately. Of course, Chiron was at 29 degrees Pisces. It's a hard spot for me, so I wasn't feeling too well then and just been a little bit overwhelmed with things. And I finally feel like now that Chiron's moving on, for me it's a good thing at least, that I'm starting to get a little bit of a better handle on things and starting to do more readings as well. So if you want to book reading with me, I'm accepting them now. There's a link I put in the description to this video as well, which I think is like the missing piece. I think my problem has just been confident. I haven't been confident in myself and some insecurities and just like fears. And I think that's been making everything very difficult for me. And I think if I can get a handle on that, then things are going to be better. And I'm starting to feel much better. Feb, kombucha. I love kombucha. It's so good. I need to get more of it. There's a really great place in, I think they're local in Salt Lake, Sunt kombucha. That's delicious. They just don't sell them at that many places. I have to go to like a special store to get it, but I wish it was more available because I would drink it all the time. Thanks, 3. I will have to get back to you on your messages. I'm sorry I've been bad about that. Happy birthday, Debbie. I love it. Birthday with the moon in Gemini. I'm all right with that. Sweet. Just wanted to see what's going on. Let me know if y'all have any questions about Chiron, because that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, since that is a major change that did just occur. So I think that's what we're going to go into. Hey, Paige. Hi, Kelsey. Okay. All right. I guess what we'll do, we'll go in, we'll talk a little bit about Chiron. I figured a way, I guess, to start, do I want to start this way, is perhaps a little bit about the mythology of Chiron, what it's all about. Maybe that will help some of you understand a little bit more about Chiron. I'm not sure how much you all know about it. But I figured I'll start there. I like to give you what I'm going to talk about. I'll start with some of the mythology of Chiron. Then we'll talk a little bit about Chiron and Pisces and what that was all about the past few years. Then we'll talk about Chiron and Aries, what that will be about. Then maybe I'll go into what's going on right now in the astrology, just some things that I think are kind of interesting. And then I will go through the signs, but I'm mostly just going to do the signs by houses and not really get too advanced on what's going on there, but I'll end with that. Okay. So we'll talk there. Hey, Kelsey, Chiron in a conjunction with your sun, definitely not a comfortable aspect. Definitely feeling hurt very intimately about who you are and what's important to you. Just everything about you doesn't quite feel right with Chiron in a conjunction with the sun. Can be a lot of raw feelings around your identity, but also with Chiron in a conjunction with your sun could bring a great chance if you, for healing work, either for you to seek healing for yourself or to actually heal other people. So even if you're uncomfortable, Kelsey, since you asked in the comments what to do with Chiron conjunct in your natal sun, it could also make you a great healer at helping other people at this time. That could actually help you feel better. Okay. So let's talk about Chiron. What do I want to start with first? Maybe I'll start with, let me share my screen. Let me share that, and we'll go into some of the mythology. Where am I? Okay. All right, hopefully you all can see my screen. I've got Wikipedia up here. So what we're going to talk about is, first of all, what Chiron actually is in space. I'm not the most versed, I'm not going to lie, when it comes to a lot of things going on astronomically. I much prefer like the astrological components, but in terms of what Chiron is, it's kind of like a weird thing. I think that it definitely is a good representation of what the actual object is in space with what it means in astrology, because I feel like it's like a thing in space that no one really knows what it is. Like, is it a planet? Is it not? Is it something more significant? Is it an asteroid? Like, no one really quite knows. Okay. So I think that's kind of interesting about it. Wikipedia here has it as a minor planet in the outer solar system. It was first identified as a new class of objects now known as centaurs, which are basically, right, these things that orbit between like asteroids and planets. So yeah. And what does it say? Today it's classified as both a minor planet and a comet. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like no one really knows exactly what Chiron is. Like, is it a planet? Is it a comet? Is it asteroid? Like, what are we talking about here? And I think, to me, that makes a lot of sense for the meaning of Chiron in general, and the way we see it in astrology is it's where we want to be something, we want to become something, and we can't quite get there. We don't quite know like what's preventing us from doing the thing that it is that we want. You know, it's like, why isn't Chiron just a planet? Like, why isn't Chiron a planet? Why can't it become that? You know, and I think that I liked this kind of way of thinking about it too, where it's like there's even something with Chiron where it can't quite achieve what it wants to achieve. Very uncertain about its identity. It's half one thing, half another, but never fully like anything that it could be. You know, it's kind of like in this weird like in-between state coming in. So I thought that was just an interesting thing to point out. Another thing that's kind of interesting here is that this minor planet orbits the sun between Saturn and Uranus. So I like to think because it's between Saturn and Uranus, it might also have some of the properties of Saturn and Uranus. With Chiron, it would have the limitation and the restriction sometimes that comes in with Saturn, perhaps, feeling like, again, it's hard to do what you want without it taking tons and tons and tons of work. Saturn likes work and responsibility. Could be a thing that could come in with Chiron as well. But then you could get Uranus too, the opposite side. So not just the restriction and the challenges perhaps of Saturn, but also the innovation, the inventiveness that comes in with Uranus, the desire to help humanity, with Uranus and Aquarius being the sign of humanity, humanitarian work in a lot of ways. So I do think that Chiron has a lot of these things where it wants to be something, but can't quite realize that, the restriction and challenge here of Saturn, but some of the inventiveness and the desire to help others, okay? Maybe part of the reason, because maybe part of the reason I feel like that Saturn, what Chiron is, sorry, let me back up a little bit. Got to get used to doing these live videos again. But Chiron does indicate where our biggest wound is in life, what hurts us the most, as well as where our greatest sense for healing is, okay? Maybe I didn't explain that to begin with. And I think what's coming in here with Chiron is not only is it having problems realizing, becoming the thing that it wants, but because Chiron has had so much of a hard time being the thing that it wants to be, it then helps other people do it. Okay, and that's where I think Saturn and Uranus comes in. The restriction of Saturn, but wanting to help other people with Uranus never have to experience the problems that we have experienced, the things that we've had to deal with, because we know what it likes. We know how much it sucks for people to not know what we are. Are we a planet? Are we not? For us not to be able to do the things that it is that we want. So I think that is kind of the double meanings that you'll get with Chiron. Not just a place of like, hard for you to realize and manifest your life in the way that it is that you want, but also a real chance for you to heal yourself, to heal others, to do some inner work, and to get some real creative insights, innovative insights on how it is that you can do things moving forward so that you can overcome your fears, overcome your insecurities, and help other people in the process, okay? Another thing with Uranus as well being involved here could be the things that are hurting us, the things that are restricting us with Chiron, maybe needing to come up with unique solutions, do things differently that you've never ever done before in order to overcome the issues that we face with them, okay? And if we keep running into a wall, having the same issues, to see things out of the box in order to overcome all of that and make that happen, okay? Sorry. I kind of walked around the park with that one, but I think that's what I'm trying to say coming in here with Chiron. Is there anything else I wanted to mention in regards to this? Oh, one other thing. I also have read some sources that do say that not only does Chiron orbit between Saturn and Uranus, there's at one point in its orbit where it also goes in between Jupiter as well. I wonder if I can find like a map of that somewhere. Does it have it right here? Let's look at the orbit of Chiron. Here it is. So here's Saturn and Uranus. Saturn's yellow, Uranus is green, and here's Chiron in the white. And I just talked about how it goes between Saturn and Uranus, bringing maybe some of the restriction and challenge of Saturn, but some of the inventiveness that can come in with Uranus and the desire to help humanity, perhaps as a result of some of this challenge and restriction. Then if you look down here, the white line, you also get Chiron close to the orbit of Jupiter. So I also like to think what that can also bring with Chiron is not just the innovation, the ability to help humanity from a sense of restriction, but also understanding. Jupiter is the planet of understanding of our beliefs that come in. Perhaps as well, maybe something that we don't talk about with Chiron that can come in is more understanding and acceptance even of ourselves, of other people, of their struggles as well, because of the things that we have to go through. Jupiter as well, I do also consider the planet of luck and of good fortune, okay? So I do wonder if there's an interesting correlation there. If you stick things out with Chiron, even if they hurt, even if they're uncomfortable. A lot of you hear me talk about Chiron in this way in my readings. There are good things that can come from it in the end if you fight through your fears, if you fight through the pain, if you don't let it stop you from doing the things that it is that you want, all right? So that's why whenever I see Chiron in a chart, I'm always like, you just got to push past that. It'll be okay. Move along. because there are a lot of good things that can come from Chiron if you let the uncomfortable feelings work in you and bring things up in you, maybe that you don't want to experience. There's a lot of understanding and insight that can come to help you move forward, perhaps in a better way, okay? Sometimes I feel like, you know, I don't really like to struggle. I mean, who likes to struggle? But sometimes I feel like in the moments when things are the hardest that we learn things about ourselves that we didn't know before, and that end up being like really crucial times to help us do the things that it is that we need, all right? So yeah, because I've had Chiron and Pisces. I mean, squares a bunch. I'm super mutable, so I've got tons of planets in mutable signs. Chiron and Pisces hasn't been the easiest for me the past few years, and I personally, I mean, this is just what I personally think, that Chiron has been a big part of me doing astrology just in general, because of all of my restriction and uncomfortable things that I felt with my work and with my job, because Chiron for me was squaring my 6th house of my work and my job. And because of feeling like my job isn't going anywhere, I'm not excited at work, things aren't working out in the way that I want, I've had to cultivate other interests, other passions, do other things. It wasn't happy. I don't know if I wanted, like I envisioned my life having a journalism career, you know, and working my way up at journalism news organizations. And that never really happened for me, or seemed like it was even an option, even though I have worked at some pretty good and successful news organizations. And I think Chiron as well playing a big part in that, was like, well, if this isn't going to work for me, this isn't what I meant for. If people, my career, don't see in me what I think, you know, is good, then I got to think about other things. And I think that's where astrology came in. And the reason why I started my channel really was not because, it is because I love astrology, but it wasn't because like this was the plan. Like, oh, I'm always going to be an astrologer and do YouTube videos and whatever. It was because I was really feeling like my job was not going anywhere and I needed something else. And so I had to be creative and I had to be innovative. And now I'm here, even though it was hard, not feeling great at work, putting a lot of work in, but now I'm starting to feel better, and hopefully some of that Jupiter is starting to kick in. Okay, I also do have Saturn in an opposition with Chiron. And a lot of times what I do find is that people who have Chiron and really strong placements in their chart, like prominent in their chart, by like trines, by squares, just like major alignments, do tend to make great healers, good jobs as healers, okay? And that can be any which way. It can be a doctor. You can be like a physical healer. You know, you can be a spiritual healer. But I do believe that people who have prominent Chiron in their chart are meant to experience perhaps wounds in this lifetime so that they can help other people heal from their wounds and share their gifts with other people, okay? So that's the way I view Chiron. Chiron is in an exact opposition with my Saturn. So I definitely view astrology, my channel, what I do, as a Chiron thing. You know, I'm here because I have a lot of my own things that I need to get a handle on as well, and because things just weren't working out the way that I wanted them to. So I had to get creative, right? So that's one thing I wanted to share with you. Another thing I wanted to mention is the mythology of Chiron. And I'll just give you a brief summary of what's going on here. But I thought was interesting is that Chiron was a centaur, which is also interesting. A centaur is what? Half man, half human, half horse coming in, which is another interesting thing when you think about Chiron. It's like half one thing, but not really like a full thing. It's not like a full human and it's not like a full horse. It's like in between, this weird, okay? So I think that's kind of interesting that Chiron was a centaur. Also, another interesting thing is that Chiron, it was supposedly one of the more educated of the centaurs, known for his knowledge and skill with medicine, the healing part of Chiron, credited with the discovery of botany and pharmacy, science of herbs and medicine. Also, let's see, he had the personal skills that matched Apollo, who was his foster father, medicine, music, archery, okay? I also like this part saying, while centaurs were notorious for being wild, lusty, overindulgent, violent, Chiron was intelligent, civilized, and kind because he was not related directly to the other centaurs. So I think that's kind of interesting where we come in to take a break from the astronomy for a second to think more about the mythology is that we have Chiron, who's a centaur, who's a more educated than most of them, who's a great healer, who's well respected, whose father is Apollo, among all of these other centaurs, kind of having this good reputation. Okay, so that's what we've got there. But what comes, the interesting part is the ending, how Chiron's life kind of ends. Okay, which goes further on here. We'll move down. And I think what ends up happening in the end is that there ends up basically, to make this long story short, some kind of war that goes on, or some kind of argument with the centaurs that happens. And he actually ends up getting wounded. I think he gets attacked by an arrow or something. He gets hit in the thigh by a poisoned arrow. Basically what happens is that he ends up dying from that, from the arrow that he gets hit with. And I think what's so interesting that everyone always mentions in these stories is that even though he was, it says right here in the Wikipedia, the master of the healing arts, he could not heal himself. So here's someone who, like, if anyone can heal anything, I don't know, I've never been hit by an arrow, but it would be Chiron, who should be able to heal himself. I mean, he's a doctor, right? Like, and he knows herbs and botany, and like is super educated, seems to be well respected. So how could he not heal himself from this wound that it is that he had gotten? And I think, again, that also represents some of the feelings that can come up with Chiron. We're actually, in some way, really gifted and talented in this area that Chiron is. There's a lot of, like, you know, how do I want to say it? I don't even know if, like, drive is the right word. I've just been using that a lot lately because we've got a lot of stuff in Aries and Capricorn. But I think there's, wherever Chiron is, there's some motivation to do this thing, some kind of excitement. There's something about it that, like, kind of intrigues us, maybe that we're good at or knowledgeable in some way, if we want to consider, since that's what Chiron was. He was very knowledgeable and intelligent. But there's something with all of that knowledge, with all of that intelligence, with all of that passion and excitement that we can't quite use to our advantage in the ways that it is that we want, even though we can help other people do it. So I think that that's just a lot of what's going on. And I just wanted to give you some other frameworks for which to perhaps think of Chiron in some way. I hope I explained that in a way that was clear. We've got this, like, crazy yod going on tonight with Gemini, with the moon in Gemini. So I'm, like, hoping everything's all right. I love that. Music therapy. That's perfect. Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat now. Oh, Marshall, where's Chiron now? It's at 0 degrees Aries. It just moved in. Yeah, Chiron in the 11th. Debbie, I'm looking at that. I know, definitely hard for social groups, friendships, but very good with humanitarian work. Yeah, Chiron returns are kind of interesting. To me, when I see a Chiron return about is, like, you owning up to, like, your pain, the things that hurt you. Like, are you going to let the same things that hurt you time and time again? Or are you going to own up to them and do what needs to be done anyways and face them and take all the lessons that you've learned the past however many years while Chiron was going around? Are you going to take those lessons and use them to your advantage? So I think that's a lot of what comes in with your Chiron return. Another thing I didn't mention, I should have mentioned this when I was talking about the astronomy of Chiron, is that because it has a weird orbit, how long does it take? What does it take, 50 years to go around the sun? It takes a long time to go around the sun, and it spends more time in some signs than others, okay? It spends a short amount of time in Libra. It's where it spends the quickest, okay? And it spends only about 1.5 years there in Libra. And it spends the longest time in Aries, about 8 years, where it's going to be right now. So probably the majority of people I don't know if I'm thinking of the science of that right, but there'll probably be a lot of you that would have Chiron in Aries natally. Okay. Yeah, good surgeons never work on relatives. I know, it's like kind of interesting. I should look more at my dad's chart, but it's kind of like that thing, because I wonder if Chiron played a part in this. But my dad was a computer engineer, and he was so great at fixing computers. Like, that's what he did for a living, like computer problems. He was there, he worked on like wireless networks. But whenever anyone in my family had a computer problem, like, he was horrible at fixing it, because he would like do some experiment and try some other thing and like add more problems to it. And I think he did it because he knew that with the family he can like play and people will be more forgiving and that kind of thing. But it's kind of interesting. I feel like that definitely comes in a little bit too with Chiron, is that you're good at helping everyone else, but maybe the things that are yours that are close to home are a little bit harder for you to fix. It's like, what, the shoemaker's daughters never have shoes? Is that the old saying or something like that? So it's kind of funny. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Chiron and Pisces. What I think Chiron and Pisces has been about the past few years, it's been there. It's been all about internal wounds, things going on inside us. You know, Pisces, I always say, 12th sign of the zodiac. It's like the end of one cycle of like the whole zodiac before the next sign, the next cycle starts again in Aries. And I think what that is it brings a lot of wounds in regards to everything that we've experienced, everything coming back to us, to haunt us from the past. You know, everything, okay, this happened in the past. I don't know how I feel about this. And because this happened in the past, it's always going to happen again. And I'm never going to get over this. And it brings a lot of things like that that could come up time and time again. Okay. Pisces also rules the 12th house. So in spiritual, it's a spiritual wound. It's something inside that's going on. You know, not feeling quite right inside with what's happening. Coming in. It could be a lot of personal hangups too. You know, I have Chiron in my 12th house, and I always just feel like, I'm like, people just never understand me. You know, sometimes with planets and Pisces in the 12th house, you get the victim mentality going in. So there could be definitely feeling like you're being taken advantage of, like there's outside forces that are not allowing you to do the things that it is that you want. I think that a lot of that can come in with Chiron and Pisces as well. Pisces is also in the 12th house traditionally, since Pisces rules the 12th house, the house of self-undoing. The ancient astrologers did not see the 12th house too favorably. So they thought whenever a planet goes into the 12th house, someone goes missing, they go to prison, they get lost in drugs and addictions, they sabotage themselves through the things that they do. And so I think that can come in a lot with Chiron in the 12th house here, is we kind of wither away in the background because we're so hurt by things that have been going on. Or we have our internal monologues that get the best of us, that run havoc in our mind and in our life about things that are going on. That could come in. Also, I did mention drugs and substance abuse. Lots of wounds around that happening. Relying on substances too much. Problems with substances could also come in there as well. Needing to overcome addictions. Maybe sometimes these aren't addictions to drugs or alcohol. Maybe they're addictions to people, to emotions, to certain experiences that keep coming up as well. So I think that can be something that happens. What else? Sorry, I'm looking at my notes over here. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff with Chiron and Pisces that's just hidden. It's just internal, just not feeling the best inside about yourself, like something's missing, maybe feeling like people don't understand you, like you have this horrible wound that you can't express, that other people don't know, and like you're bound to repeat patterns over and over again. And I think the lesson of Chiron in Pisces is to learn how to kick addictions, how to not be so afraid of the past, to not be so afraid of everything that's happened here, and to find that peace inside when you feel like there's no peace around you to be had, or when you feel like your outside circumstances aren't the way they should be, to find like that calm and that peace inside you anyways. Okay. And to be all right with with who you are, okay? Yes, Joanna, I did not like Chiron and Pisces as well. Another thing with Chiron and Pisces, just to give you another tidbit of information, it's going to be harder for my mutable signs because Pisces squares every mutable sign or opposes it. So if you're a Gemini, a Sagittarius, a Virgo, a Pisces, Chiron and Pisces could have been very challenging for you. Now that Chiron is moving into Aries, hopefully things will start to ease up a little bit for you. And now all my cardinal signs are going to be feeling it. If you've got a lot of planets in Aries, Capricorn, Cancer, Libra, now you may be feeling some of the heat turning on a little bit here. Things getting a little bit more uncomfortable now that it's moving into a cardinal sign and is going to be in a harder aspect. So you can see that switching too. Maybe some people who had some hard, difficult times the past few years, now all of a sudden things starting to feel a little bit easier, and perhaps other people maybe having some inner work, internal things that they need to work out. Okay. Marshall Denon, yes, to look up your native Chiron. Do you know how to pull up your birth chart? That's the best way to do it. Astro.com. It will help you look up your birth chart to find out where Chiron is. And I also always recommend Ephemeris. It's an iPhone app. I think it's about $10, but to me, I think it's the best one. What else? Yeah, per Marshall. Yeah, I think Chiron in the 6th house, you're right, is great because the 6th house is the house of healing. And with Chiron in the 6th house, I would definitely see like a very gifted healer. Oh, what's the symbol for Chiron? Let me show that really quickly. I'll share my screen. It looks like a key, which is also like interesting in itself to consider. Let me share my screen so you can see what Chiron looks like. So, right, so here's Chiron. You can see my screen. I'll bring up a chart. That would make the most sense for me to bring up an astrological chart. But this is Chiron. It looks like a key in itself, which is kind of funny because maybe just to riff a little bit, it's like the missing piece. Like there's something that's missing, and Chiron's like the key to unlock the missing piece. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thing to think about. Also, I can just show you in a chart. Let me pull up the current chart of the current transits. All right. You want to look at it as well in the chart. Let me get my spotlight tool. Chiron. Oh, sorry, I gotta switch it back. Let me take the part of fortune off. And I normally, when I do my my videos, when I do like readings, personal readings, I'll do Placidus. That's the house system I prefer. But when I do for you, I do Aries. Where is it? Aries, 0 Aries. There we go. Okay, which is going to make the ascendant here, 0 degrees Aries. And here's Chiron, if you can see it. It's the key symbol I just showed you. Here it is at 0 degrees Aries. All right. Where it's going to be for about the next 8 years. So you can see it. The cool thing about this tool is you get to watch it. So Chiron, here's Chiron and Aries. If you just follow this, keep your eye on it. It's going to go retrograde. It just turned red. It's going to go back into what? Pisces around October 19th. A little bit before then, but in October. Then it's going to come back into Aries, February. Okay, where it's going to stay there. And you'll just watch it. It's going to stay there, and we'll watch it until it leaves. Honestly, this is a lot of how I like learned astrology, is I literally will just like stare at charts for hours and play and just keep pressing buttons and be like, what's going to happen in 2025? What happened in 1993? Just like random stuff. Okay, there's, keep your eye on Chiron. There it is. And it goes retrograde back and forth, and then there it is. June 2026. And then it's going to go back into Aries. So April 2027, it will be officially out of Aries and into Taurus. Okay, just to give you an idea of how things are going to go and how long Chiron's going to be hanging around. But yeah, so that's what it looks like. Sorry, that was a long way of saying that. And I think what's going to go on with Chiron and Aries, now that we're back here to where Chiron and Aries is, it brings more of our wounds like less internal. It's less emotional, with Pisces being an emotional sign, spiritual. It's less about our own mind and emotions getting away with us now, and more about us doing things and moving forward. Okay. Yeah, that's the way I see a lot of Chiron and Pisces the past few years, is like emotional hangups, like not feeling quite right about things, feeling like something inside you is just missing, not feeling maybe super cared for, not feeling seen, maybe feeling paralyzed sometimes comes in as well with Pisces. And now that Chiron's in Aries, I feel like we're getting over those things. We're getting over perhaps some of our internal things that are stopping us from doing what it is that we want, our emotional issues, about the past, about who we are, about maybe feeling like a victim, and we're actually starting to do things and to move forward, action to make things happen. I personally like this because at least now we're not like hiding in silence, like we're not like in a corner, like I feel like with Chiron and Pisces the past few years, I'm a normal person on the outside and y'all like see me, but inside I'm like a little kid in the corner that's just like. And now that Chiron's in Aries, I feel like it's going to be a lot less about that. It's going to be more about like doing things and failing and trying again, doing things and failing, and your wounds being on more display. It's no longer private matters hidden in the 12th house, but now it's you, it's who you are. The wound is like, this is it. Like, this is me happening, coming in, and it's how we do things. The wound is more related to our identity, where everyone sees the pain, everyone sees what's going on. That can be very hard for people who want to be perfect all the time, who want to do everything right all the time, who want to do things and have them be successful immediately. Okay? But it can be, that can be a hard thing for them, but it can be a positive thing for people who are willing maybe to put more of the work in, to wait things out, to try and try again. I like to think of Aries, of course, as the sign of the warrior. To me, what makes some of the greatest warrior and hero stories are not like heroes that all of a sudden like win. It's not like, oh, okay, you on the first try, you like succeeded and now you're a hero. Or, oh, okay, like you just did this thing that was really, really easy and now everyone worships you. It's like, no, to me, the real heroes and the real warriors are the people who have had like horrible setbacks, horrible challenges, and have stood up to them time and time again to overcome them and have beat these challenges against all odds because of their determination, their perseverance, their heart. And I think that's what comes in with Chiron and Aries, is being the warrior, being the fighter against all odds. When everyone says you cannot do what it is that you want to do, considering Aries is a Mars ruled sign, you stand up and you say, I'm going to do it anyways. Maybe it's not going to look pretty. Maybe it's not going to look pretty. Maybe I'm not going to do things in the way that you want. Maybe I'm going to take like a really weird path to do the things that I want because this like hurts. I'm going to tiptoe around some things, but I'm going to get there if you watch me and I'm going to make it happen. And I feel like that's a lot of what comes in with Chiron and Aries. You get your real warrior stories of like people who have failed, but eventually try again, even if they fail, try again, and they make it work and they make it happen. And I think that's what we're trying to learn here with Chiron and Aries, is how to keep doing things even when it's uncomfortable, even if you don't know whether or not you're doing things that are right, and to move forward anyways, okay? So that's what I see going on there. I'm going to look at the chat one more time, and then I'm going to go into your signs and some other things going on. Where are we now? I have so many tabs open on my computer, I have like lost my place. Let me get it back up again. I'm mad about that. I need to restart my computer. I haven't done that in forever. I've got like updates waiting. Yeah. I know. If someone already answered, yeah, the R symbol definitely means retrograde. And sometimes with Chiron retrograde, what would that bring? Maybe the wound is more internal. Yeah, maybe you don't show the wound as much to others. Maybe it cuts kind of deeper emotionally or spiritually with Chiron retrograde. Eric, you were looking to fire up tomorrow. I think you can still do that. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Even though Chiron is now in Aries, in a fire sign, it's actually going to make some pretty good aspects the next few weeks and months, even though long term it could definitely bring up pain, like difficulty in doing things. What does it mean for a Cancer? I'm going to talk about that in a second. I'll go through maybe some of the signs. Okay. Oh, what does it mean when it retrogrades into Pisces? So let me bring the chart back up, Debbie, in order to answer that question. Screen share, okay. So we've got Chiron. If we're looking at it now, this is where everything is at the moment. And someone asked, what happens and what does it mean when Chiron goes back into Pisces? Because it is going to retrograde back into Pisces. I'll show you in this chart. Excuse me, still have some of my allergies going on. And it's going to happen. Maybe I'll get it more exact for you. Let's get the day. Oh, see it made the switch. September 25th, 2018. Okay, and what I think happens when a planet does this, it's going to come into Aries. Okay, and when it comes into Aries, it's essentially saying, all right, it's time to get over your emotional wounds inside, about who you are, about what's going on inside you, about your spiritual wounds. Time to stop hiding in the corner, and with the Chiron moving into Aries, time to start actually doing things. Okay, and I think that's what's going on for the next few months until September 25th, is that now it's a time for us to be more open about who it is that we are and to start to do things in a more public way and to fight for what it is that we want. When Chiron moves back into Pisces and on September 25th, to me, it's like a check-in. Okay, now that you've been doing things out in the open, did you really beat these emotional issues that you faced earlier, especially the things that you faced within the span of the past month, because that's where Chiron's going to be, where it was this past month. So some of these same things may come back again. It's going to say, did you really face those issues? Like, did you really handle those things, or did you just cover them up with a Band-Aid? Like, did you just like shovel them in the corner, or did you really face the things that were hurting you before and own up to and accept them and overcome them so that you can move on? So I think a lot of that comes in as well, trying to make sure September 25th that not only are you moving forward doing what it is that you need, but that you're overcoming some of the emotional, spiritual, and internal wounds from the past that were preventing you from doing the things you needed, right? Let me see. I think there was one other thing I wanted to mention that I thought was kind of interesting. Yeah, I do think a lot of similar themes are going to come up then, because what is it? Chiron's going to almost come into what, a square with Saturn, even though that's more an Aries thing. So there could definitely be some like hurt feelings that do come up in September about where your life is going and what you're doing to put your life in the right direction coming in. But they're more like internal feelings. Like, are you really sure? Because the way I see the astrology for the past few weeks is that we've been changing our life in a big way to do something new and to start building on it. And I think the problem that's been the past few months and years is that doing something new has been uncomfortable. We've been unsure of it. Do I really want to do this new thing? Because of all these squares Sagittarius, Saturn, and Sag has been making to Pisces coming in. And I think now with Chiron moving into Aries, we're saying, you know what? this new thing I'm doing may be uncomfortable. I may be out of my comfort zone, but I'm going to do it anyways, and I'm going to start building on it. And when we get to September 25th, I think we're building on stuff, building on this new reputation, this new thing to build a life off of it that we've been working on. But I think what comes in September is maybe we have to check in with ourselves, and maybe we start to doubt it again. Oh, I don't know. I'm building on this career. I'm building on this reputation. I'm doing this thing that I thought made me happy, but is it what I really want? Can I really overcome some things from the past to move forward that we're going to have to deal with and fight one last time to make sure that we've overcome it? Right. Let me see. Is that going to happen? One thing I also did kind of like about this is that around the same time too that Chiron's going to be in this spot, it's also going to make a sextile as well with the south node and a trine with the north node. It's out of sign a little bit, but it'll get there. There it is. That's when the trine's going to happen. Let me see if I can get the exact. All right, so it's going to happen right here, November 19th. You see Chiron and a sextile to the south node and then a trine to the north node. And I think even if we revisit some old issues on September 25th, feeling uncomfortable about the direction our life is going in now that we've decided this earlier this year to do something new, I think if you can fight those fears, those maybe insecurities or uncertainties inside that come up maybe around September of this year, around November 19th, you're going to start to feel more of that chance. Like the stuff that you've been going through this month, you're going to start to understand it more. You're going to get more clarity on it. You're going to understand why it had to happen. Maybe you're going to retrieve some things from the past around this time with the sextile to the south node that's been hurting in order to figure out how to take them forward. Okay. I hope that's making sense with what's going on. But I think there are some old things that could come back to haunt us at September from earlier this year, but they're meant for us to face them once and for all, to not be insecure about some new journey we're going on, putting our life in some new direction, and for us to heal some of the things that maybe we've experienced this past month that are hard, and to make sense of them so that we can start to be more emotionally comfortable with life with the north node being in Cancer and move forward feeling better. All right. I hope that was helpful. Another thing maybe that I'll mention too, since I know, I'm sorry, I'm going like back and forth in time. I should have planned this better. But I'm like, I'm just going to go by the cuff today. It's kind of late and see what comes out. But another thing that's kind of interesting too is that today, this is the chart for today, right as Chiron enters Aries, we also have this interesting thing as well where Mars and Pluto are coming conjunct. So they're in a conjunction, and Mars, of course, rules Aries. Mars also rules Scorpio, but it rules Aries as well, also being a thing. So it's like right as we have this like, and what do I think about Mars and Pluto? Mars and Pluto, it can be very intense. I mean, Mars and Pluto can definitely bring, a lot of you have probably been feeling it this week and in the next week or two, some big changes in life and the way that you do things and the way that you get things done. Mars and Pluto, I also think, is a very powerful placement. It can be a hard one because Mars and Pluto are the warrior planets. They can bring definitely war, aggression, things like that. But they can also bring great determination to get things done because Mars and Pluto both rule Scorpio. And Scorpio as well is not afraid to get the things that it wants, holds on to things, attaches to things, is a fixed sign, gets what it wants, knows what it wants, makes it happen. And so it's kind of interesting that right as we have this big wound coming for us and how we do things and how we act, we have some major power going in to create things that it is that we want, to create the life that it is that we want, to do things that are important to us, okay, coming in. So I think it's kind of interesting here that there's a major shift that I've been talking about in my videos where we're finally starting to step into a new life direction and to build on it. And I think what the Mars-Pluto is helping us do right now is to change our life and to change the way that we do things so that we can fully step into some new life direction, some new story, deal with it in different ways and move on. And right as this is happening, we're starting to realize, okay, now that I'm doing things, putting my life in this new direction, now that Chiron is out of Aries, I have less personal hangups, less emotional hangups, less like internal reservations about what's happening. But now I don't know, am I doing things right? Is this like really the right way to build this reputation that I want? Is this really like the right career, the right direction my life is going in? And am I moving forward on it in the right ways? Is this really who I am now? Like, emotionally, I'm whatever about it. Like, emotionally, I'm fine, more or less. Like, I don't have any, like, perhaps things from the past anymore. Maybe they'll come back in September, but things from the past are perhaps starting to fall away. And it's now about doing these things that becomes the hard parts. That can be difficult coming in, and maybe us needing to change the way that we've done things from here on out, or from the past, so that we can do things in a way that's different, that can help us get what we want moving forward. Yeah, and to do some important things. Okay. So I think there's just a lot of that going on. We're finally starting to change our life, to be more public, more open about what's going on, to move forward on it in a more public, hopefully in a swifter way now with Mercury going retrograde. But it's just a matter of figuring out, okay, now how do we do things now that we've committed to this direction? How do we need to do things differently, or in what way, to make sure that we're getting the outcome that it is that we want? And maybe feeling like it's hard for us to be successful. It's hard for us to achieve the things that we want. It's hard for us to get things done, but needing to do it anyways, and to try to act in ways that are ultimately going to be the best for you, and to try to be comfortable now with these new things that it is that you're doing and moving forward on. Okay. Maybe I'll leave it there at that with the Mars-Pluto. Another kind of interesting thing too is, as Chiron moved into Aries, we're also about to have Venus and the Sun in the next month come into the beginning degrees of Gemini. And the first degrees of Gemini are very favorable to Aries. It's going to sextile. Venus and the Sun are going to sextile Aries very soon. So even if we're having perhaps doing some new commitments, launching on some new journey, doing things differently, not sure if what we're doing is okay, but moving forward anyways, coming in, I think in the next month or two, there is going to be an opportunity at least to understand what's going on, to communicate about you, about what's hurting you, to get insights on how you need to do things moving forward, to bridge the gap between Chiron and Pisces and Chiron and Aries. And I think there is going to be help here for you to go from this old set of experiences where there's been an emotional, like an internal hole inside you, to doing things more openly, even if you're not sure how to do them or in what way, but still getting them done. Okay. All right. And I really like to think, in case I was not clear earlier, that Chiron retrograding into Pisces in September of this year, even though it may bring up some old issues, are ultimately going to help us heal what has transpired at the beginning part of this year, so that we can go into new chapters with these things, feeling more comfortable with what we've been working on, and building more of the emotional security into our life. Because the North Node is eventually going to move into Cancer. And I think once the North Node moves into Cancer at the end of this year, we're going to finally start to feel like more at home, more at peace with ourselves. And with Jupiter also moving into its home sign of Sagittarius, if you can just wait out these next few months of transition, even though I think next month is going to be much better than this past month, if you can wait out these few months of transition, by the time we get to the end of this year, November, December, the North Node coming to Cancer, the sign of home and family, of emotional comfort, Jupiter coming home to Sagittarius where it loves to be, Saturn in Capricorn, there's all of these planets that are like at home. I think you're going to start to feel much better, like you're starting to perhaps do the things that you, do the things that you've been working on, but to feel much more comfortable about them, to feel like everything's starting to come together in a way that maybe it hasn't been previously, okay? So I see that. And Uranus and Taurus, I haven't talked about that much, but Uranus and Taurus, especially coming in next month, I think is going to be a lot about owning who it is that you are, being confident. Even if you're weird, even if you're unusual, like even if you're whatever, you have to learn how to be authentically yourself, how to build on that, and how to be comfortable with who it is that you are. And I definitely see, like, at the end of the year, coming home to yourself coming in. And I think that's what we're trying to figure out here, is how to do things in an authentic way, to be more of our authentic self, and to build a new life that really resonates more truly with who we are than it has previously. Okay. So I'll do that. And then I'll just go into the signs really quick, because you know me, I can linger a bit. Maybe I'll bring out my tool and we'll draw Oh, let me set the chart back to now. Okay. All right. I'll start with Aries. One of these days, I'm going to have to start with another sign. I'll start with Aries. Ooh, we've got a red, a nice fiery color. Why not? Since Chiron's in Aries. Chiron's in Aries, it's your first house, so it most closely aligns to what it is that I've been saying. The wound for you is in how you do things, how you initiate, how you act, how you make things happen that are very, very important to your identity. Could feel a little bit uncomfortable, like people don't accept you, like it's hard to do the things that it is that you want in some way, like things never work out for you, perhaps could come in there. As well with Chiron in your first, it's going to make squares to all the cardinal signs. Oh, sorry, I was like, Leo's not a cardinal sign. It's going to make squares the cardinal sign, so it could definitely bring up feeling a little bit hurt about where your life is going, about home and family as well coming in here, and maybe in your relationships. But the wound, I don't think, the wound is not in your relationships, it's not with home and family, it's not with your career, it's maybe because you feel uncertain about who you are, you feel uncertain about how people will respond to you, and maybe that prevents you from going all out in your career, achieving the things that it is that you want, having the home life working better with home and family or relationships, and needing to keep being yourself, doing the things that you want anyways, even if it is hard. And I think that will make it easier for stuff to come together in career, relationships, home, even if there are some issues there, okay? That could come up. Now, what's going on with Taurus? All right, here's Taurus. Sorry, I forgot. I have to write this. Oh, maybe I won't use the red because it's kind of confusing with the red lines already currently on the chart. All right, so I'll use black. Taurus. What Chiron, where Chiron's going to be for you, is going to be in your 12th house. Okay, here's Chiron. This is your 12th house. So even though I said the wound is going to be more public and how you do things for you, Taurus, the wound may still be internal, all right? Because it's in your 12th house, and 12th house holds properties similar to Pisces, okay? So even though the wound is definitely in how we assert ourselves coming in, a Taurus could definitely feel like inside there's still some things maybe going on that are not quite right, okay? The reason why I would say Aries rules a Taurus, the 12th house of a Taurus, is because it's the way that they think inside and spiritually that is the most aggressive and assertive part of themselves, that is the most, takes the most initiative. You know, it's like, oh, this is what I feel inside. This is what I want. You know, this is what's going on inside. Yeah, that is the most, that could be what's coming in. And I think Chiron in the 12th house could definitely perhaps bring an internal wound, maybe problems here understanding what's going on inside you, maybe some aggressive emotional stuff that could come in as well, or some things from the past also happening there. Okay. Really interesting place to have Chiron in the 12th. A lot of times though with the 12th house, again, these wounds are more private and not external. It's not like something externally happened to you that threw your life into disarray. It's just something inside you that works its way outwards and not something outward that works its way in, okay? And just needing to make sure that you've got everything going on inside you, okay? Or that you don't let your insecurities manifest outwardly in a negative way, right? Can also indicate maybe I should be positive here. As definitely good spiritual healing coming in, a good chance for you to help other heal spiritually. Yeah. Help other people heal some internal wounds, okay? Could bring for you, Taurus, with the square here to Capricorn, perhaps the 9th house could be uncomfortable for you to do something new, get out of your comfort zone with the square to the 9th. Let's see, maybe also could be hard for you to communicate as well about what's going on inside you with the square to the 3rd house coming in. Maybe difficult with your job and with your daily routines because there's so much going on inside you emotionally, all right? But needing to push past any emotional fears, insecurities inside you that you may have in regards to something new you're doing that's taking you out of your comfort zone, and to be able to communicate about what's going on inside you, even if it's even if there's a lot going on. That's uncomfortable, okay? All right. Gemini. This is you, where Chiron is going to be. Sorry, this is your first. It's going to be in your 11th house. Okay, and the 11th house rules your hopes and dreams for the future, the groups of people that you associate with, and what else? Yeah, kind of how you express yourself authentically in the life you envision for yourself. And it could definitely bring problems with friends, social groups, maybe feeling like you don't have a social group that you fit into. It's hard for you to make friends, maybe feeling like it's hard for you to be yourself authentically, like people don't accept you authentically, like you don't know where it is you see your life going, or it's hard for you to achieve some of your goals or dreams. Coming in would be some of your challenge. Because Gemini and Aries sextile, though, I don't know if I see it being too bad for you, even if you are worried about some of your goals and dreams, about the people that you associate with. I think the sextile is going to help you to communicate better with people. And I think if you communicate with groups of people about the vision for you that you see for yourself, it's going to help you. I'm sorry, let me take a drink. So definitely communicating about your vision can help. Maybe also you might be good at helping other people reach their goals and dreams if you feel like you can't reach your own, as well as what else? Maybe also you can help other people find the social groups that they fit into, because maybe you feel like you have a hard time finding the group of people that are right for you. You can also maybe help people find their tribe, their own group, and reach some of their own goals. And you can help other people, at least in your presence, feel like they can be themselves, even if other people feel like they can't be them, even if people feel like they can't be themselves around the other people in their life, okay? So that could come in. What else? Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll just leave it there. I'll keep it kind of simple, since I know I'm getting kind of late now. Cancer, where the wound is going to be for you is going to be your 10th house of career and your reputation. Maybe worried about where your life is going. Maybe you're worried you can't have the career or the reputation that it is that you want, that other people don't see you the way that you want to be seen, especially in the 10th house respect, that you don't get the respect that you deserve. Maybe that it's hard for you to put your life in the direction, that you want, if I didn't say that. So that could be something that comes in that could be a little bit difficult. And then, of course, being a cardinal sign, that affecting your relationships, your home life, making a lot of those things difficult, but needing to not be afraid. If it feels hard for you to put your life in the right direction and to have the reputation that you want, to keep working at it anyways to make it happen, okay, with the healing part of Chiron coming in. Chiron as well in your 10th, maybe you'd be good the next few years at helping other people have a career, helping other people put their life in the right direction, and helping other people get the respect and the control over their lives also that they need could be a thing that you could help people with. All right, Leo. What we have, sorry, it's my handwriting. What we've got for you, Leo, is the 9th house, is where Chiron's going to be for you. In regards to your biggest wound, is going to be perhaps something new that you're doing, getting out of your comfort zone. Maybe you're going to be asked to do something new, learn, travel, study. And maybe it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to do something new that it is that you have not done before, bringing up some insecurities or fears in how you do things to move forward in that sense. Also, with the 9th house, you can get religion, maybe some hurt feelings in regards to religion or your belief systems in some way if you are a part of a religious group or something along those lines. Or maybe just even feeling like people don't accept your beliefs. You have beliefs that you like to express with Aries, maybe like to express them pretty forcefully, but maybe people don't get those. And I think what you could be really talented at helping people heal is you can help people perhaps find more of the excitement and the passion in their life, even if you can't find it in your own. You can also help other people to figure out what they believe, be more confident in their beliefs, have beliefs that are more important to them, that resonate with who it is that they are. Yeah, and maybe help people learn, study, go to college, something along those lines too. Okay. What else? I might just keep it simple tonight. We have Virgo here. And Chiron for you is going to be in your 8th house, right here. Aries rules your 8th of changes, endings, and beginnings. So perhaps there are some endings and beginnings in life that you need to make. A lot of changes in life. Maybe it's hard for you to make the changes to do what needs to be done. Could be some deaths and some births that could come in as well with the 8th house. Maybe, yeah, maybe some hard things around people dying or things ending as well. That could just be a little bit difficult. As well as deep emotional sexual relationships. Maybe feeling like it's hard for you to be vulnerable and to express yourself intimately with people. And again, needing to not be afraid to express yourself intimately, to have intimate relationships if they're really important to you, so that you can move forward. Maybe you also helping because it's been hard for you to make changes. Maybe you'd also be really good at helping others change their life for the better, helping other people be vulnerable, allowing other people, creating space, making the space for other people to be vulnerable as well could be something that you might have a gift for during these next few years of Chiron and Aries. Okay. Is there anything else there? Finances, sorry, as well comes in with the 8th house. So maybe there's a lot of money going out, some debts you owe, some things coming up with money that could also be difficult. But again, needing to try the best to pay the debts off, to manage your money responsibly, even if it takes some time. Be the warrior with that. And could also conversely make you really good at helping other people manage their money because you know what not to do, right? What not to do. You know what does not work, so you can help other people manage their finances better. All right, Libra. Here you are. This is your 1st house. Chiron for you is going to be in your 7th. So that's the house of relationships. So your biggest wound is going to be relationships, partners, the other people in your life, how you see yourself in relationships, how you see yourself reflected in the eyes of other people. Maybe feeling like other people, your relationships don't get you. Maybe feeling it's hard to assert yourself in relationships. It's hard to have relationships that are important to you coming in, that the other people that you're committed to in your life don't understand your own personal needs. Okay, maybe it can also feel hard for you with Aries to get the relationships that you want, to assert yourself in relationships, to make progress in the relationship area coming in. But again, needing to keep trying and trying, even if it doesn't work, needing to hopefully keep trying to, overcome some issues with relationships, with marriage. Sometimes you can get the 7th house to help things get better. That could also make you, because you have problems, may have problems with your own relationships, it can make you really good at helping other people with relationships. You know, I know what not to do in a marriage, so let me help you not make those same mistakes. Or I've done a lot of things that haven't worked in relationships for me, so let me help you get in a relationship. Could come in there. Okay. Scorpio. Okay, there we are. And what this is going to be for you, Aries, is on your 6th house. And that for you is all about your job and your daily routines, what it is that you do on the day-to-day. Maybe feeling like it's hard for you to do what you want on the day-to-day. You know, you can't make progress at work. You can't make progress in your job. Maybe as well health that comes into the 6th house, feeling hurt about your health. Maybe feeling with the 6th house like your energy is just diminished coming in. Could be something along those lines. But you, as a result of having maybe some difficulty asserting yourself at work, asserting yourself in the day-to-day, doing what you want on the job, maybe you would also be really good at helping other people figure out how they can have a better job, how they can do things better at work, assert themselves better, have more of a job or a set of daily routines that they like, and also improve their health could come in with the 6. So let's move on to Sagittarius. Chiron for you is going to be in the 5th house. 5th house rules happiness, love, romantic relationships, kids, if you have any kids, and passion projects, entrepreneurial ventures. So you could definitely be feeling a little bit uncomfortable about how you do an entrepreneurial venture, a passion project, not sure if you're doing the right passion project, the right thing. Also, you'll get romantic relationships, not feeling like you're having romantic relationships that you want, that work for you in some way, maybe feeling something's not right with kids in a way that's important to you, not being able to make progress with kids in the way that you want coming in, but can also bring a great opportunity for you to be a warrior for love with Chiron in the 5th house. Could be a good opportunity for you to help other people find their own happiness, because you know perhaps what it's like to not do what it is what you're happy about in life. Maybe you can help other people do it. Also with this placement, I've been mentioning the warrior throughout this video, needing to be the warrior to be happy. Okay, maybe you can't get what you need to be happy on the first try, but if you keep trying again and again and again, you can find what you need to find more of that joy and the love in a romantic relationship. Okay, so even if you feel like romance isn't there, keep trying at it, don't give up. There could also be a chance to find lots of healing through romantic relationships as well if you keep going with that, right? Yeah, kind of an interesting place for Chiron to be. When was Chiron in my 5th house? I remember when Saturn was in there, and it was not the best. But Chiron can definitely indicate lots of healing too. So there could be lots of healing through love and romantic relationships if it's in a good aspect to some other things in your chart. We've also got Capricorn. Almost done, and then I'll look at the chat, and then I'll let you all go because it's late. What we've got, Chiron here, 4th house, home and family is going to be the sore spots. Maybe feeling like your home and family doesn't get you. Maybe feeling like your home and family is preventing you from doing the things that it is that you want to do. Maybe also feeling with the 4th house like it's hard for you to feel super stable and secure in life. It's hard for you to feel comfortable, like you're building your life on the foundation it is that you want to build it on. That could be the thing. But again, needing to keep trying to find your home life, to find your home, to build your home, to be comfortable in life, and to build a foundation in your life, to be the warrior for that. Also making you really good here at helping other people find their home and helping other people find their emotional comfort and stability that they need as well and work better with family. Okay, Aquarius. Okay. Chiron for you is going to be in the 3rd house. This is a lot about talking and communication. Maybe you feel like it's hard for you to get your point across when you say things. People just don't get it, or the way that you say things, people take them to mean weird things that aren't right, or the things that don't really get what you're trying to say. So that could definitely come in with the 3rd house. As well, neighbors, maybe it being difficult to work with neighbors in your community, and perhaps some things coming in with siblings, just feeling uncomfortable about that. Could also be a good chance, though, to find healing through conversations if you stick with it, if you keep trying to find healing with siblings as well, and with your community. Again, also helping you could help others to work better with their siblings and to communicate, perhaps because it might be hard for you to communicate, okay? Coming out of it, yeah, so I'll leave it there. What else? We also do have Pisces, the last sign. Okay, and Chiron for you is going to be in your 2nd house, so that's going to bring more finances to the forefront. Maybe worried that you're not making enough money, that people don't value for who it is that you are, that finding confidence as well comes into the 2nd house, can be a little bit hard as well. Also, sometimes the 2nd house you get possessions, that you don't own enough shiny things. could be there as well. Okay. The message with this, so keep trying to fight here for that raise. Keep believing in yourself, being confident in yourself, and moving forward on that. It can also make you good at helping other people get money, increase their finances, helping other people be confident, and also learn gifts and skills and talents, helping other people cultivate what they are uniquely good at in some way. Okay, so that can also come in with Pisces. All right, I think that's what I'll leave it with tonight. I always say I'm going to do these videos for like 30 minutes, and then I end up just like going on and on. I'm getting a little tired. My sinuses are starting to kick in again. So I'm just going to look at the comments and then say goodnight. When will the energy lighten up? I personally like Gemini season just because Gemini is a more lighthearted sign anyways, and Gemini actually isn't into like much of bad aspects to a lot of things going on. So I like to think things will lighten up a bit more next month. Someone asked when will they lighten up next month, because we're going to have a lot of planets in Taurus. Taurus likes more stability, so things won't be so crazy intense change as they have been at the beginning of this year. I like next month a lot. And then I did mention earlier in this video, I like the end of the year, November, when we've got Jupiter at its home in Sagittarius. We've also got the North Node and the very homey, comfortable sign of Cancer. We've got Saturn at home in Capricorn. So I also do like the very end of this year. Hey, Marsha, you said, what if you're not in a relationship? Are you a Libra, or were you a Sagittarius? Because the seventh house, if when I said the seventh house could bring problems in relationships, which would be for a Libra, it doesn't have to be romantic relationships. It could bring uncomfortable feelings in regards to a business partnership or some commitment or contract you're signing, also with the court systems as well. Sorry if I did not make that clear. Just feeling like it's hard for you to do things with a business partner, with a contract or a commitment. Needing to keep trying even if there are restrictions there. Abby, yes. When I do readings for the signs, I actually prefer rising sign. I feel like my readings are more accurate that way, but of course you just do whatever you feel resonates the most with you. But they also do apply as well to sun sign and to moon sign, but I prefer rising. Yeah, Debbie, that's interesting because I'm the same. Chiron is still going to be in my 9th house for a while. Oh, yeah, sorry. Debbie said it's still in my 11th house, but now it's in Aries. So I thought that was interesting because sometimes what happens is that Chiron changes signs, but it still stays in the same house in our chart. And normally what I find there is that you get like a slightly different flavor. So I've had Chiron in my 9th house, which is of me doing something new and beliefs. And in Pisces, just to use me, I like to use myself as an example because I have my own permission. I don't have to ask someone else for permission to use their chart. And also because I'm most intimately familiar with my chart and have personal experiences that I can share to back it up. So that's why I like to talk about myself. But yeah, I have a similar thing going on with my chart where Chiron has been in my 9th house in Pisces. When it moves into Aries, which it just moved into, it will also be in my 9th house. A lot of my struggle has been a lot with, of course, doing something new, which has been my astrology channel. There's been a lot of inner turmoil about that, as I try to let you in on every once in a while. Just feeling not quite right about it, about putting myself out there. Is astrology right for me? Overcoming the past has been hard. And now that I am more or less committing to that, more than less committing to that, and now that Chiron is moving into Aries, the question for me is less about, do I really want to do this new astrology channel? It's more about, okay, I'm doing it. How am I doing it? Am I doing it in the right ways? Am I building an audience in the right ways? You know, am I, like, it's no longer like worried about, is this what I want? It's like, okay, I'm doing this, but in what way am I doing it? And am I doing it in the right ways? Like, am I doing the wrong things and my audience is like going to fall apart, or I'm not going to do what I need? So I think that's what's coming in there as well. And then you get stuff with belief systems too. I mean, I have a whole bunch of stuff that I could talk about in regards to religion and churches as well. I kind of have like a love-hate affair with religion going on. That's a whole other story. And so I've definitely had some things that have come up with religion, especially in regards to astrology. I have a whole experience there. I'm actually a convert to the Mormon Church. And I love the Mormon Church, but ever since I started doing astrology more publicly, it's been very hard for me to do that, since the church does not believe in astrology. So I've also had a lot of night house stuff going on with that. That's been very difficult. A lot of it's been internal going on, especially. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. I'm just going to talk about myself for a little bit. But yeah, I think a lot of the stuff that's gone on is as I started to do astrology while I was also going to church, I think I felt like I had to hide astrology just so that people wouldn't know that this is what I'm doing, so that I wouldn't get like in trouble with leaders at church for astrology. And now that I've committed to doing astrology more out in the open, now if I go back to church again, which I do hope to do soon, it's not going to be like, oh, I'm hiding the fact that I'm a Mormon that does astrology. It's like, no, this is me. This is what I do. If you have a problem with it, like, that's fine. We can talk about that, but it's no longer going to be like quiet anymore. So there's a little interesting story on that. Hi, Talia. You said Chiron leaving your first house, and are you going to build some self-esteem? Well, the second house is probably more about self-esteem and confidence. They're both kind of equally with confidence. So I don't know. I think that when it comes to your self-esteem, Italia, there may be some things where you feel like a little bit like maybe your confidence is not there in the way that you want it to be. But I think with Chiron and Aries, you may have more of the warrior, the fighter spirit to fight to get your confidence, or at least needing to stand up more to people or to the things that are taking your confidence and your personal power away. Yeah, that's the way I would see that. Yes, I already talked about Geminis, but you can catch it in the replay. Okay. Yeah, sometimes I just decide to do these live videos random, Marshall. Just kind of when I'm feeling like it. I try to check in every once in a while. I like to. But okay, I think I'm gonna head out. I know, Peter, that's how I feel. I'm like, there's so many things I feel like in the Bible and in Christianity that support the stars. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna head out. I hope you all have a good night. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. I hope this was helpful, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, sweet dreams. All right, bye guys.